Okay, thank you very much. We would like to continue. Thanks very much. Please stop flashing now. Thank you very much. So the introduction will be held by Peter Bry from Terrorism. Please, Peter.
Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Peter Bry. I'm the Secretary General of Terrorism Foundation. I will make my introduction in English. Christine will be moderating in German, and Heinrich Fichter will also be talking German.
Last year in Davos, big issues like Africa, poverty, climate change were very much on the World Economic Forum agenda. This year, the issues seem to have largely left the Davos radar screens, and this open forum panel on the respect of fundamental rights is therefore particularly relevant. Now, field actors like terrorism do not come from an academic perspective. We have both feet in reality as it is. We act and show extremely correctly that things can be done. We change reality. But is the world doing enough? And the obvious answer is no. And we all know the figures. Let's just take one, which was quoted earlier this week by Mary Robinson. 30,000 children under 5 years of age die every day of preventable diseases and the result of malnutrition. Now that's a tsunami a week. 600,000 mothers die every year while giving birth to their children. So, ladies and gentlemen, is the respect of fundamental rights really a priority issue? Or has it become a priority for NGOs only? Is the world reducing rights to charity? Something we do when we feel like it, and only for the nice ones? Now, the panel here today is invited to discuss the different aspects of this highly complex reality. And Christine has asked me to briefly present the people on the panel to you. Dr. Khanoum comes from Afghanistan, from Kabul. She's a medical doctor, and within TDH, she's responsible for a group of more than 30 midwives that make house visits in the city of Kabul and Kandahar to young mothers and their children. These ladies have done that in the times before the Taliban, during the Taliban, and continue to do that today. They know everything about giving birth and to prepare for life, even in quite impassable circumstances. And in all those years, with all the violence and all the bombardments, these midwives only stopped work for 2 days. Child rights, inaction, or charity? Thank you for being here with us. Angelina Jolie, of course, hardly needs an introduction, although most of us only know the role she plays as an actress. Angelina, as a person, is, among others, Goodwill Ambassador for the UNHCR, the UN organization dealing with refugees. And in that capacity, she has shown an impressive commitment on bringing hope and inspiration to the most remote places. Angelina, welcome to, well, both of you.
Thank you.
Catherine Marshall comes from the World Bank. World Bank and IMF have a major influence on state economic and financial policies. Catherine has been with the World Bank since 1971, has been in charge of programs like East Asia, Africa, Latin America, and is currently dealing with issues like ethics, values, rights, and faith in development. So highly relevant to have her here today. Thank you, Catherine. Ken Roth is Director of Human Rights Watch, America's largest human rights monitoring organization. Now, Ken has the experience, the guts, and the brains to constantly bring back the reality of human rights in the action of many governments, including his own. Welcome, Ken. Reinhard Fichtel is the terrorism delegate in Kathmandu in Nepal, and he's also a spokesperson for the international NGO community in Nepal. Now, we here in Switzerland, we have always had this special link to Nepal, this other mountainous and small country. But the people in Nepal are confronted to a situation of ever-increasing violence. Can we still speak about child rights in such a situation? Christine Meyer from Swiss Television accepted the difficult task of guiding the panel to the heart of this difficult but crucial subjects. Thank you, Christine, that you've taken up that challenging role, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Peter Bray from Terre des Hommes. Yes, not forbidden. Well, Angelina Jolie, since the media has announced that you will be here on that panel today, it was really amazing how much the interest in human rights has exploded, I have to say. We are really happy about that fact. So we have all the ears, the eyes here. And I have to switch now to German. I was asked to ask a question in German, so you might need a translation, I guess. I'm not so sure about your German.
I'm very good.
And so möchte ich Sie fragen.
I'd like to ask you the following questions. You've come here to the World Economic Forum where all the economic and political and financial power meets. We are slightly on the margin, on the periphery, and are going to talk about human rights here. What is your personal motivation for being so committed to human rights?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm really excited that there is this panel. I was thrilled to, with all the different agendas going on at Davos. I was so thrilled to see that human rights was on the agenda. It is, if I could say, I think it's the most important. It's the root of everything. About 5 years ago, I started traveling with UNHCR, the UN Refugee Organization, to camps and visiting with families. And it was a shock for me because of how I grew up and what I was taught in school and what I was aware of, to see that there was a world that I knew nothing about, with gross human rights violations and so much poverty and so much distress. And in the years that followed, I saw so many people fighting. We all hear about different charities fighting to clean water, for education, for some kind of shelter. UNHCR fights for people to have the right to seek asylum. And we all do look at this as, which is I think the message of this panel, whether it's charity or is it our right. And the reality is, for many years I thought how nice so many people are helping with all these things. You know, the good people are doing a lot of nice things for people, for these desperate families. And then it was brought to my attention that there is this document, the Declaration of Human Rights. And what it says is that these are not things that nice charities do for poor people, but that these are the law. It's the law. Children should have an education. People should have the right to seek asylum. If they are in danger, they should have a right to protect their families. This is the law of the land, and it's what we should all follow. So it's been a different way to approach it, and it has become very important to me.
Wenn ich hier gerade anschließe.
Perhaps I may just link up to that. You said, if I may just link up to that, the states, you say, have subscribed to the human rights of children, but the United States has not ratified it. What does that mean to you? Are you ashamed of that? Or?
Yes, I'm absolutely ashamed of that. Being an American, I think it's horrible. I think Congress should ratify that and do that for children. If we really care about children, how dare we not sign the Convention on the rights of a child and the rights of women, and also we should support the International Criminal Court. There are many things that, as an American, I've discovered in the last few years that have shocked me about my own country that I am very ashamed by.
Eine Frage an Sie.
A question to you, Kenneth Roth. It's maybe a little difficult. We are here and we've been discussing for decades about the human rights and the rights of the child. And it's so frustrating to think that nothing is moving, nothing is changing. You come from Human Rights Watch. Do you think that the situation has deteriorated markedly, or is it still the same as years back?
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. This is my second open forum, and it's wonderful to see so many people taking an interest, not just in Angelina, but also in the issues. So it's great to be here. Angelina rightly points out that there's some governments like the United States that still are not comfortable even ratifying the major human rights treaties that are out there. But in terms of, are things getting better or worse, it really has been true that over the last 4 years, there's been a significant step back.